Yeah.
Not only that, when we went up to get him from Pearl River, we even had the watch commander involved in it.
Okay.
And I had paperwork from the courts, and I made sure before I even left that those papers were 100%. There was no other paperwork. And they told me, no, you cannot get any higher papers, which I knew anyways, because I've done a lot of stuff in the law.
You know what? I just want to stop you there real quick, Charlene, because I want to just explain who you are. Charlene is a mother and was having difficulties with her ex, and her child was kidnapped. And the RCMP were informed, and they didn't do nothing about it.
That's right.
They didn't do anything about it, and that just goes along to say what I was talking about my daughter as well. So go ahead, Charlene.
Okay, and then in the time that he got away, and I tried to get him back with these papers that were legit.
Yep.
Pretty much went up there for nothing because we ended up having to come home with no child, and then fighting again.
Yep.
About the paperwork in our town where we live, and once again, they said, no, you've got the highest paperwork you could possibly have. He has no rights to that child.
Yep.
And then I ended up in hospital, and while I was in hospital fighting cancer, I got a front page newsprint.
Okay.
With my ex-husband on the front page.
Yeah.
For committing attempted murder, and my son watched it.
Yeah. So your son's traumatized by this.
My son has never been the same.
You know what? Charlene, when you called me last night, when you called me last night, I was just overwhelmed. And this is what's happening to us all. Okay?
But do you know the thing that was the worst part of it?
What's that?
Was you might have been overwhelmed by the story.
Yeah.
But the police officers made me feel like I was a hypochondriac.
Oh, yeah.
And he was the man.
Yeah.
And there was a police officer that dealt with him for 25 years and knew him inside and out from that town.
You know something?
And he wrote all the way from way gone, been transferred, and he heard about it, and he wrote the paper and said, that man needs to be put away.
Exactly. And you know what? What do, right, when you're in a situation like that? You call the authorities, right?
Well, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they're not there for you.
Well, especially when you're weak and broken down and scared and you don't know what to do.
That's what I'm talking about. This shit is just out of control.
They minimize your pride.
Yeah.
Exactly. They minimize everything.
They do.
Way to go,
and in the time that they do the minimizing, then they say, well, here's a number. This is your file number. Here's my card. Here's my partner's card.
Yep.
And the person I brought with me,
yep,
he lived in the town that this happened in.
1 second, Charlene. 1 second. I just got to have a sip of a beer here. I'm getting upset again. Thank God for beer. Okay, go ahead.
And he handed me the 2 cards with my file number on it.
Yep.
And the guy that was in the vehicle with me, he looked at those 2 cards and he said, I've lived here all my life. And he said, I know those 2 police officers by name, and those are not their cards.
So in other words, they misrepresented them.
False identified.
Yeah. So in other words, they were laughing at you, right?
Basically, and when I went to look for them, they were...
bro, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Charlene.
Yeah, when I looked at the cards, I thought, what am I going to do with the cards? Right now, I'm telling you that he's on the BC ferries. If they get someone from Langdale down there right now, they can stop him. Mm-hmm. I got a plate number. I got a vehicle.
And they didn't do nothing.
Nothing.
You know what?
My dad was on the ferry and saw him with my son.
Yeah, and there he is. They know he's on the ferry. Why didn't they do anything?
One chance.
Yeah.
And also he was under arrest for so many other things. And while my son was up there and he was under the arrest, he was using my son as a pack mule.
Yeah, a pack
he
mule.
Couldn't leave he could not believe that
angry.
he couldn't leave the property. So what he'd do is he got them to build a trail from south of town through into town through his mom's
And when
yard
the camera ends, she's got
on
that.
a four-wheeler, and he packed the drugs in the four-wheeler.
Okay, I gotta.
The four-wheeler there.
So he's using his son as a mule.
He did, yes.
Okay.
And my son didn't even know it because
You know-
he left the four-wheeler there for 4 or 5 hours. He'd go play with his buds, come back, take the four-wheeler, and go the back route back. And in the four-wheeler was the cash for the goods.
Yeah, I gotta tell you right now, Charlene, this shit's gonna stop. I'm in touch with Global. I'm in touch with
We're the butlers, man. You can't fuck with us.
No, you're not gonna. This ain't gonna happen no more.
You can't tell us what we don't know because we already know it.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck off.
Yeah, like we're gonna tell. Like I called the RCMP yesterday, and I was like, "Fuck you. You work for me, and that's it. You fucking get the job done, or you're fucking fired."
Yeah. Well, and there you go. I watched your program on that, and I heard how they kept putting you on hold and holding you off, and sorry, he's on another call, and
Yeah.
And
You agree though, right?
Until you get to the point where I just want to speak to somebody in power here.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You know?
Okay, Charlene, I gotta go to breaks now. I'm gonna bring you back on, okay? I'm gonna phone you back, okay?
All right, you bet.
All right, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Okay.